I had some FOMO. I didn't own any Bitcoin, no crypto, nothing. I was zero wiped out, like everything out. And I started buying the Mara calls very, very aggressively.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I bought the 30s. I'm this is a very aggressive bet. Um, I mean, not in terms of size yet, but in terms of positioning. I don't want to misspeak, so I want to tell you guys exactly. Full disclosure. I'm pretty sure I own the January 30s.
I got into more riots Friday.
Here, let me punch it up. I'm pretty sure I don't want to tell you guys I did one thing, I did something else, but I'm pretty sure it was the 30s. I'm gonna punch it up now.
So the guy who was selling all of his crypto 2.5 weeks ago is now telling me it's time to be aggressive in crypto. Such a little swing trader. I didn't know that you were such a tactical guy. I thought you liked to sleep at night.
Well, I'm not usually such a tactical guy, but I had such a huge position in such leveraged assets that I needed to be defensive.
Fine.
Right?
Fine. Yeah.
Like I had huge size on in way out of the money calls that were having massive swings intraday. Like I was being defensive. Right? Is there anything wrong with that?
No, that's fine. You made money.
JC, next time just wait for like a 3-day weekend. Bitcoin always rallies on a 3-day weekend.
Is that the rule of thumb?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But yes, Freely says I had a little bit of a FOMO. That's not wrong. I wanted to at least have some. Here, I just punched on my account. I own the January 30 calls. There we go.
MicroStrategy's got to split their stock because I want calls and it's just too much of a capital outlay with them trading at $600 a share. It's really not working for me.
I'll tell Michael.
It's a great vehicle. I think it's as good as any vehicle.
Order filled.
MicroStrategy. Maybe you just buy the stock. I'll bet you MicroStrategy is going to give you more juice than Bitcoin if Bitcoin hooks higher here and legs up.
Well, yeah. Isn't that?
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what it does, right?
No, that makes sense. That sounds right.
Every time I think about this,
Order
and I look at a
filled.
chart of Bitcoin and want to buy it,
Order filled.
I say to myself, but that's not the vehicle, right? Like Bitcoin breaking out, that's great. But then when I think of actually going and hitting buy,
yes,
it's very hard for me to get myself to a place where I'm still buying Bitcoin. But the analysis,
it's a poor use of funds.
What?
It's a poor use of funds.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like buying like a Forex ETF.
Yeah.
Like that's just not the vehicle to express a bullish thesis on the Turkish lira,
I never thought I would say this, but thank God we have these Bitcoin miners. I made fun of these companies for years, but I'm just so glad to have them. They've been great
Order
vehicles
partially filled.
all year. No.
I couldn't agree more.
Order
I'm
filled.
so happy you're saying this because I've been thinking the exact same thing. In fact, when I was on with Josh and Batnick on the show last Thursday, which is funny, I rewatched it this weekend. It was actually pretty funny.
Trading connection lost.
I was kind of disappointed afterwards because I feel like we weren't like yelling at each other as much as we usually do, and people like it when we're yelling at each other. But I watched it
Market
again, and I was like,
data
okay,
connection lost.
My feelings were hurt.
Trading connection re-established.
You were in Asia.
Market data connection re-established.
What are you gonna do?
Order filled.
Anyway, listen, go to the Compounding Friends YouTube channel. It was fun. Straza feels a little left out. Nobody feels bad for you at all. You were just in Asia for 3 weeks. Nobody feels bad.
Finish the thought. The miners.
I was explaining to them, I'm like, listen, like, we don't have a Bitcoin ETF per se, but we do, right? Like what Straza was just saying, we have vehicles to express a bullish thesis in Bitcoin. That's a better way to do it than actual Bitcoin. And by better, I just want to clear, leveraged, right?
Yeah.
So if you want some natural leverage in your position sizing, that might not necessarily be better for you.
Totally.
But for Straz and I that do this professionally, that can manage risk responsibly, in Straz's opinion, I'm being too responsible with my crypto exposure.
No time frame, right? Listen, traders need vehicles, so like I know it sounds funny, but I'm not joking one bit when I say they should split MSTR stock. And I hope that they're in their boardroom talking about these things, because
Why should they split MSTR stock?
it's an excellent vehicle. People like to use it as a vehicle. They want it to be a spot Bitcoin vehicle. Split the price. You'll have far more liquid options markets, and options traders will be much more likely to use it. That's a
I
fact.
disagree. It's going to
That's
bring
wrong.
on. It's going to
It's
bring
so
on.
wrong.
It's going to bring on like the weak hands,
No.
individual amateur retail investors. You don't want that.
No, you're so wrong. You're so wrong.
right.
Like at some point, like when these high price stocks, they mess up your options math and your risk.
You
And
think Warren Buffett gives a shit about your options math?
some traders give a shit about what I'm talking about? Ask Sean.
Don't get me wrong. I'm with you. I'm talking about from the perspective of the CEO of Michael Saylor or Uncle Warren.
He
No.
wants people to transact in his stock as much as possible.
Yeah.
He totally does. He totally does. You're so
I don't know. I don't know. He's not an idiot either, and he knows that having a high price stock is going to keep the dumb retail. You know, he wants the diamond hands. You know, he wants the institutions. Let's be
So-
serious.
Let's wrap up this conversation. Moral of this story is I wanted exposure to Bitcoin, didn't really think too much about it, already regretting buying Bitcoin. I probably could have waited a half hour here, 15 minutes here, and just bought some more Mara riot calls to express the thesis. But I bought it on